Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for your patience as I had to go and grab something. It's like, oh yeah, tips for the detoxing process. Okay. All right, let those notifications go out. We're here. I know we're about 5, 6 minutes uh past 2:30, but listen, this is why I tell y'all around 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Around 2 p.m. Okay, just remember that. Give or take, I would say anywhere from let's say 3 to 7 minutes. Okay, on the back end, sometimes we get started early, and then on the front end, if we're a little bit late, all right, because God has us. Yeah, it is the detox process. God's going to take us to revisit certain seasons for our life to remind us that okay, this was once our normal. Okay, because once we realize that it's not after we've done a detox and then we've learned about radio frequency and the poisoning and all of that and the salt and stuff. So we realized that, oh, okay, so where we're at, it is suddenly season, by the way, y'all. And I'm going to remind you what God suddenly looks like, because it's not like boom, falling out of the sky into your lap kind of suddenly. No, that's not how God works. Okay. So we want to keep that in mind. All right, everybody. So let me do our usual sound check here. This is Truth Seeker Podcast. All right, everybody. So there you go. There you go. There you go. All right. And we'll make some proper adjustment here. There you go. Come on, everybody. Yeah, join us. Join us. Join us. It's a lot to process when we are doing the purging of the subconscious and all of that. It takes time. And I'm still with y'all on that. Like, Heavenly Father, what else do we need to unlearn? Yeah, what else do we need to unlearn? And so if y'all see some areas where you might see some cream, okay, there's a reason for that. All right, we are in the suddenly season, chosen one. Yep, it is suddenly season, and the Spirit of the Lord. I had something else in mind, but as I was getting ready to get up here, He put that on my spirit. He said, He said, I need you to let them know it's suddenly season. Some of them aren't listening. He said, some of y'all ain't listening. All right, so he said, I need you to get up there and I need you to deliver that message, because he told me that several days ago. He said, now I need to tell y'all that because we need to make sure that we're ready. And so God has us do things right in preparation. Remember the 5P. God is the author of the 5P. And so we have to do things in preparation for that suddenly. And just God suddenly typically is, okay, He reveals something. Okay, I need to obtain this to go with that. Okay, even though it's not going to get delivered until a few days later, that's okay. But we went ahead and got it, and it's on its way. So we just wait patiently for it. That's how God suddenly looks. It's not, right, it's not when He puts it on our spirit that we just automatically drop everything that we're doing, grab our car keys and go. No, that's not God suddenly. That is what the Matrix would teach people. God says, no. He said, you're going out tomorrow anyway. Hang tight. But just make a note of it. Whatever it is, He says, I need to get. Because He needs us to be ready. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Truth Seeker Podcast, streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequency for healthier living. Yes, trauma healing and spiritual growth occur with God's wisdom, basic scientific facts, tried and true technique, and more here and at CHA Academy, BTBW.com. The link to the Academy is listed below. Some of y'all may need to copy and paste the link to view what CHA Academy, BTBW.com offers to help you level up your trauma healing and spiritual growth. And remember, spiritual growth is getting closer to God. Yes, as we get closer to God, He gets closer to us and He increases. And so He said this is a suddenly season of increases. Noted the plural form of increases. See, God has so much for His chosen one that, yeah, it's like it never ends. You know, God got His blessing for His chosen one. And it's important to know the difference between a blessing from the devil, because the devil takes it back. When God gives the blessing, He don't try to take it back. He's not going to take it back. Unless a chosen one lets the fact that they're a chosen one go to their head. That is the same concept as blasphemy against the Holy Spirit being the only unforgivable sin. So remember that. Okay? Don't let status, position, or title go to that head. Because that's, God's like, well, you know, and so I would like to believe that chosen ones don't. True blue chosen ones don't let the fact that we are chosen children of God go to our heads. We don't do that. Okay? Because we got to stay humble. Right? You can't, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, you can't stay humble and then be thinking more highly of yourself than you ought to. No. And so, it's suddenly season. And God says He needs y'all to get ready. He needs us to be ready. So whatever it is He's put on your spirit, whatever it is that He's putting on your spirit to do, remember, your heart's desires, as long as they're righteous, God is going to come through for you. And so when it comes to suddenly season, we just have to, okay. And so what does that look like? Okay, well, example would be what He revealed to me yesterday. Why He's been telling me for several days, reminding me really that it's suddenly season. Like I showed you a few things. It's okay. He said, I need you to remember when you were going through the detoxing, you got to remind, don't be, just because you're feeling better one day, thinking that you're going to, no, you still got to be in that mindset of being mindful, being vigilant and aware, because you're still detoxing. And you'll know. So it's suddenly season, He says. So I'm out and about yesterday. He revealed to me, I need to get ready. That's why we have ointment now in some additional places. He said, I need you to be ready. That's how we're doing it. That's how God hastens things on His time. And so the air conditioner, that's right. God said it's suddenly season. Because we're detoxing to get the internal body temperature back to where it's supposed to be. Right? Ice packing and detoxing, watching our sodium intake and things like that. Now, you're still going to take some in. It is a necessary electrolyte. But it's just being mindful of the amount, because we know now that, not only is salt a metal, but it also is what radio frequency needs to start frying the body from the inside out. Seriously. So you don't want to have it in excess. God did not design our body to hold on to excess stuff. Excess of anything. So God revealed to me, He's like, there's just one more spot I need you to ointment up. Okay. All right. And so shall it be, in obedience to God. And so the air conditioner, once we had it set on 70 for a time, for several weeks. Yeah, remember, the external temperature, when it remains inconsistent, the body's internal temperature doesn't know what to do. Okay, so think about the weather manipulation using radio frequency. Okay, so think about that. The high and the low, inconsistency with the external temperatures. So you wouldn't know what temperature to keep it on the inside of your dwelling, right? Same concept as inside the dwelling. If you're constantly turning that air conditioner or heater or whatever up, down, up, down, up, down, and you're trying to detox, well, that's going to prolong the process. God revealed that to me because it makes sense. He says, I need you to have the dwelling temperature, that external from your body temperature, consistent for a time so that your body can adapt. And so, yeah, suddenly after, right, it was several hours later, okay, but suddenly, out of nowhere, it seems like, I knew we were going to be turning that temp up. I just didn't know when. Well, it was when God revealed to me, okay, start putting some things here. We good? All right. And so yesterday evening, shortly before I get ready to turn in, that's right, grabbed that extra blanket and went up a couple notches on the AC. And oh yeah, earlier today I was tempted to turn it back down, but God said, don't you do that. He said, don't you do that. He said, if you start to sweat a little bit, let your body sweat. That's part of the detoxing. Okay? Remember, got to get the excess out. And that's just one of many ways that we do it. Okay? So once God has us set that thing, leave it. Okay? Leave it. You want your dwelling temperature to remain as consistent as possible so that your body will adapt. Okay? Because I learned that. And so that was suddenly for me. I was like, okay, because I did not expect that to happen yesterday. All I know is he had me go to a different Walmart. I've been to that one before, but he had me go to a different one. And they have carts that are like, they're a little bit higher than the average of others. Okay, they sit up just a little bit higher. So when I put my, God revealed it to me. I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And so he's been revealing suddenly, a little at a time though, throughout today, he's been reminding me, like, okay, he said, know that what you were thinking was the main culprit for certain things occurring during this detoxing. It's not the main culprit. He said, those bruises have been going away the entire time. In fact, many of them have already gone away. So those are also not the main culprit for certain things occurring. He revealed to me, as we are moving our bodies, okay, as we are moving our bodies, and we are paying attention to, right, how we move, how quickly we move, that kind of thing. Yeah. And so as we're doing that, he said, the main culprit during the detox for us experiencing certain surges, if you will, muscle tension. Remember that, okay? If the autonomic nervous system detects a threat or perceives something as a threat, like the way you move, then some muscle tension will occur, which is what the enemy wants, because muscle tension does what? It prevents proper circulation. So, right, and so that way he said, I want you to change that thinking. He said, this is suddenly season. He said, so it's time to change that thinking. He said, that's not the original culprit. That's not the original culprit. Because when I move a certain way, right? If there's a muscle up here that's tense and I do this, well, I'm contributing to exactly hindering circulation. And so that's why it doesn't have anything to do 100% with just the bruises. While they were larger, they were contributing just a little bit more as plugs, but we've been ice packing and ointment. Yeah, so they're not anywhere near as big as they once were. And again, many of them have already gone away. So I said, okay, what else could it be? Because this is how we become aware, becoming aware of our autonomic nervous system, how it functions, and everything like that. And so when God says it's suddenly season, that means He's getting ready to level us up. And it can be in a number of ways. And then more than once, He's going to have an increasing in various areas. One right after the other. That's what God suddenly looks like. He's not going to bring it up. In other words, He's not going to wave a magic wand in my circumstance and go, okay, all of your bruises, be gone, like that all at the same time. No, because I have to learn these things. Same thing with y'all. Whatever it is you're experiencing, all right, for your particular circumstance. The reason God He's not going to raise no miracle wand, magic wand. There you go. He is a miracle worker, but He's not going to wave that magic wand. No. Because we have to learn lessons along the way. Remember, God is a teacher. He teaches us. Like He's teaching us about our autonomic nervous system, our biological body that He strategically created. Yeah. And so we have to learn about that. We have to know that, okay, this goes with that. This goes with, okay, so that's responding to that way. Why? Okay, and we got to figure it out, working out that salvation and to overcome, right? To get that ANS back to the present so it's no longer responding to what it perceives as a threat when there is no threat. Remember, your autonomic nervous system is very anticipatory in nature. Okay, and it's going to anticipate until you break the connection, whatever it might be, whatever the negative connection is, to a particular movement, to a particular activity. For example, going to my car. This is for somebody. Here's a tip. Okay, here's a tip. Because that's the same car that I would, go and do videos in, and then go back to the old environment where radio frequency was increased, so it was a threat to the ANS. So every time I would go to the car, it was anticipatory. Okay, it was anticipating. Okay, we're going to the car, but are we going back to the old environment? So how did I break that connection? Air freshener. Because there was a time, that's right, I never put air freshener in that car before. Never. I had never done that. And I used to smoke cigarettes. Well, see, I don't anymore. And I've had the car cleaned since, right? All on the inside and everything. And in fact, it wasn't long after I quit smoking that I went and had that done, because I was like, let's get this car cleaned up. Right? Because we stopped smoking cigarettes, got the car clean. Okay? Now, I got here, and so I said, I got to break that connection. So God reminded me, He said, well, how did you break the negative connection with getting in the shower? And I went, oh, that's right. I got some calming body wash. So every time it goes click, oh, a relaxing scent. So I remember in the old car that I used to have, I put air freshener in there, the little tin one, right, that you could open up. And I remember a particular scent that I liked, and it's like some sort of a cherry scent. And so when I went to go get these to hold the ice packs on, this terry cloth, okay, to hold the ice packs on at the auto store, they said, you know what? God said, get you an air freshener. Remember the cherry scent? I went, yes. And worked like a charm. Because when I put the air freshener in there, you know, I went to the passenger side, I put it on the floor, behind the seat. And so gave it a day or two, to get that scent in there. So then, right, and then that trip to the store in that car, because the A&F recognized the pleasant scent. Oh, okay. So now the A&F may be thinking we're in a different car. You see? And so once I got into the store, I noticed that there was no muscle tension where there had been before going through the store. And I said, aha. So it works. That's how you got to break those negative connections for the autonomic nervous system. And that also goes well with the detoxing. And so yesterday I gave everybody some tips, okay? Because when you go through the detoxing process, right, and you're dropping weight, which naturally going to happen, a few pounds here or there makes a big difference. And so going out and buying like pants, okay? Instead of buying each time you lose a few pounds, you find I showed yesterday the elastic, okay, stretchy material, okay? So that way you're not spending unnecessary money. And so since I found that, because I do walk and I do exercise, and so exercise shorts like these, okay, y'all, that has, okay, exercise short or pant or anything like this it's stretchy, okay, and so that's that, okay, at the same time. So there's another bit of advice for you. You get you a few pairs of those, and you'll get through the season until you reach your goal. Make sure, whatever it is you have a goal about, write it down, okay, write it down, and then while you're working your way towards that goal, you get you some stretchy type pants, shorts, things like that. Same thing, ladies, for your tops, same thing, okay? If you can find some tops that are, like for me, okay, well, I could still fit in the small, so my circumstance might be a little different. But go with whatever size is comfortable for you. But I even have some things that are mediums, and I still wear those. They might be a little bigger than they used to be, but it is what it is. Like my sample clothing, our product line for consultant for height awareness, the Just Say No to the Trauma Bond, and then the Feeling Dark, God Can See in the Dark, those t-shirts. Well, they might be a little bigger than they were, but it is what it is. And that's the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, it's a little bit bigger than it used to be. All right, then. But that's just good news. It lets us know that, okay, we are making progress. Even if our body's internal heat is still a little bit higher than it should be, so our perception is a little altered. Never forget that. But there's your detoxing tip on that, okay, for another idea as far as, so you're not buying, you know what I'm saying? So like if you go, because every 2 weeks and then, right, you're not going to, well, I hope not, you're not going to be back in that larger size again, right? See, that's the thing. This is a solid goal, okay, you all, and it is. Hello. Thank you for joining us. We did get started a little bit later today. It is what it is, but it's suddenly season, and so God said he needs us to be ready. So he had me pick up. Wait for it. Wait for it. Right. He had me pick up a few pairs that were a smaller size. Because, exactly, we discovered, there you go. And now the temperature is up on that a little bit more. We're keeping it consistent. Our body internal is adapting. And because I had not had to pull out that extra blanket for, I have to say, at least a week. Holy Spirit, correct me if I'm wrong. Close enough, okay? Close enough, about a week. Because it's been nicer and warmer outside, and that had been on 70, and I've left it there. My body finally, once God revealed suddenly, okay, what else needed to be, what's the word? It needed to be treated with some of that ointment, okay? And then also, after one round of ice packing on one, I had to figure out how we were going to do it. Because I thought, well, I need one arm. So it's like, okay. All right, so doing the ice packing there, like we've been doing on the knees and the calf. And so he said, yeah, you can do it, but you're just going to want to make sure that, right, I don't have to clamp it, but I can just keep it to my side. And then if I'm doing whatever with this arm, I can, and then one at a time. He said, you don't want to walk around like this. Because, I could, but no. He said, one at a time, fine. Because you're going to want to take a sip of tea or water. Maybe you're eating lunch, something like that. But, God said suddenly. And so because of that, right. And so he had to go from a small to a extra small on me. Because I know my body. He knows my body. He made it. And so he knows. And he told me where he's taking me with all that. And so we're like, yeah, let's do this. I take that challenge. So there you go, everybody. It's just, that's how God works. He says it will be suddenly. So he also had me get some additional clothing items as we continue. Yeah, he said, get ready. That's what God means when he says it's suddenly season. So I'm being transparent with y'all. This is how he has us do it. He wants us to be ready. So he has us, right? Oh, and the other thing that goes with the suddenly is he had me go and get another pair of these slippers that they fit, but they're a little larger than I would like as far as for shopping or what have you. And so he said, because even though this is your size, there's like a little, he said, these are great for in here while we're live streaming and working and stuff. He said, but I need you to go get a pair that fits a bit more right to go shopping in so that so that my feet, as it wants to release the heat, can do so while I'm shopping. Because I noticed that if I'm wearing my sneakers all the time running errands, I would notice that it's like my body's trying to get the excess heat out, but the sock and the shoe is holding it in. And so I would notice that. I'm going to tell y'all, first day shopping in those other sandals that fit a bit more right, like tighter. Oh, huge difference. Especially when I got back here. Huge difference, because as I'm walking through and getting what I need to get, the body's able to, as you take steps forward, able to release the heat from the bottom of the feet. And remember, y'all, you're going to feel it. If you feel a little bit of tingling right here, that's just the body getting rid of the heat. That's all it is. Nothing to panic about. Ooh, nothing to panic about. It's just the body releasing excess heat. And so, yes, he has it ice packing. Oh, yeah. So, he also had us, because the newsletter coming out, you all, it's going to contain some things also about the detoxing for you. Okay? So, I'm going to put it all together so that y'all have the information you need. And then, of course, a blog that'll go with it. So, just hang tight. For anybody who may not be receiving the newsletter in your inbox, check your spam folders. Okay? Because sometimes, you know how the digital demons are. You might find it there because once y'all, you have the option now to unsubscribe if you want to. I don't fool with that. When you sign up for the monthly newsletter at the bottom of the website, the link is listed below, you will be added to the list to automatically receive the monthly newsletters the first of every month. And remember, I don't bombard your email like some of these other places do. No. In the newsletter, you will now see a few items that are being highlighted. That's right. That are available for you all off the website and the courses at CDHRWDRMD.com. We've always got stuff coming for y'all. That's right. And so thank you for your patience on that stuff too. Okay. And I know I was supposed to get to y'all yesterday evening, but we did today. It's just there was a lot going on as far as God's revelation and God saying it's suddenly season. So he's like, okay. I'm like, all right. Because he told me, those of us on this detox journey, be ready. All right, he said, be ready because the next, I'm not going to say, no, I'm not talking about the next zap. Okay, when they try to, the next zap, no. I'm talking about when your body's internal heat, you'll know. That's why when I turned that up a couple notches, and then I was like, okay, that let me know that God said, I told you, it'll be suddenly. Because I did not see that coming. I was like, okay. And I will not deny that when I first got up this morning, I was like, okay. I was surprised because, okay. I didn't get up in the middle of the night to turn it down. All right. So that let me know that the progress is being made and we got to leave it alone. Okay. So our internal heat has gone down as it's supposed to. Now, that doesn't mean that I go out there and get the saltiest of the saltiest to eat. No. It just means that we still monitor how much sodium we're taking in, but it just means that we don't have to be so stringent with it. You know what I'm saying? We just make note. Okay, we're taking it about, all right. Just kind of keep a mental note. Okay, because it is suddenly season, and that's what it looked like. It was just like overnight. I'm like, okay. But that's what God suddenly looked like. Okay, and he's not going to do all of this at the same time. Again, never forget, God is not an overwhelmer. When God moves suddenly, I just described it, right? So yesterday, this is God suddenly. I was going to go to a place and then to the usual Walmart that I go to, and he said, no, I want you to go to the other Walmart and then to your mailbox. Okay, because he had to show me, and that was before lunch. That was early. It was pretty early. And then got to the mailbox, got my most of it junk. Most of it junk. And so after we got that, and we're like, okay. He said, now I want you to go now that he revealed where I needed to add some ointment and ice packing, all right, we own it. And so working out that salvation, right? And then he had me go to the other store that we needed to go to. Time to get some meats. Okay, all right, so we get that. We get back here, and I'm like, all right, I had to get some lunch. I was pretty hungry. He said, go ahead and eat. And I was like, all right, so how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? All right, how are we going to do this? Okay. So I was just thinking about how we were going to. And so I'm eating lunch, and then I have my big packs of meat. And so I got to get these separated out into baggy stuff. Go ahead and do that. And then we got up here and went live with the Motivational Monday message at around 4 p.m. And so all I'm still at is, okay, I'm trying to figure out a plan. I was like trying to figure out a plan. And so, because after I got off the live, we took a walk. Okay, God said, I need you to walk it out. All right, so we're going to walk it out. But he had me put some ointment there first. All right. Came back. And I'm like, all right, well, how am I going to do the ice packing? And he said, well, grab a couple of the ice packs, or at least one, and get your little terry cloth and see what that does, right? Okay, well, I did. I put it on there, and then I wrapped that around it, and I clamped it. And he said, okay, that's one way you can do it. He said, but it's suddenly season. I need you to up the ante. So today, okay, well, after all of that, and then he said, if there's still some cool left, go all the way around that sucker before you put it back in the freezer. Little ice packs. So I was like, okay. And then shortly before turning in for bed, he had me turn that up because I was like, man, I was like, I'm feeling that cool. Nice. All right. Get the extra blanket. So I sleep on it. This is how God suddenly works. I wake up and okay, that got turned up. That tells me something. Okay. All right. And so I'm like, right, how are we going to do this icing? How are we going to up the ante? God said, get 2 of those ice packs. He said, remember how you did the splinter type, right? And you wrapped the terry cloth? Okay, do that. All right, so, but I had to make sure that, right, remember, I got dragged down on the front side first. So I was like, okay. He said, put one right there. Put the terry cloth underneath. Then put one on top, like a splinter. And then take the terry cloth, go all the way around. But I don't have to clamp it. I just keep it at my side. And have one arm free. So I do one at a time like that. And so I have to take the time out to do that. Because he said, I need you to up the ante. Because it's suddenly season. So, excuse me. Let me grab something to drink. There we go. Yes. So that's how God moves. That's God suddenly. Okay? That's God suddenly. Okay? It's that overnight. And notice how, through all of that, he didn't throw it all at me at once. You see? If he had thrown all of that at me at once, I'd have been like, hold up a second. Because we have to work that stuff out like that. And so it took about 24 hours to work all of that out. That's God suddenly. So we can't, no, God's not just going to drop it in our lap. No, that's not how he works. Yes, Skechers slippers, that's right. It's not the BTBW magazine, Chris. Okay, it's the it would be the March newsletter. I believe you already got that. But there's some of y'all that have reached out and told me something about you're missing getting the newsletters, and so I'm just wanting to let everybody know, check your spam, okay? You already have the BTBW magazine from the course at the Academy. And the product that I was talking about, those t-shirts and stuff, are on our main website, Consulting for Heightened Awareness, CDHRWDRMD.org. We have down at the bottom, you'll see t-shirts, mugs, and something else. T-shirt, mugs, and accessories, something like that, but you'll see t-shirts. I took clothing and accessories and I changed it to t-shirts, mugs, and accessories, I think. Something like that. T-shirt and mugs and more, something, because I wanted to be a little different. Because a lot of other websites use that clothing and accessories. And I said, So we want to be a little different, right? We don't want to do things the same way as the world. Because what do we learn about algorithms? People, right, when people search, when they're searching for a t-shirt, what do they put in? T-shirt. Right? Okay, there you go. But yeah, from the navigation drop-down menu, it's down there towards the bottom. It's right after survivor testimony. By the way, if y'all haven't already, I highly encourage y'all to hop on over to the website. That is linked below also at the very top there. And check out those survivor testimony. And let you know what Consulting for Heightened Awareness is doing for them and how we're helping them and how we're all helping each other. And so, yes, you're welcome. Yeah, okay, yeah, right, because we're still in March. That's okay. By the way, Chris, how are your eyes doing today? After ice packing, I hope, right? So let us know that, yes, let us know how that's doing for you. Because I'm ice packing too. Anywhere that I notice needs a little extra ice packing, that's where it goes. And so God said that when it's suddenly season, he just needs us to be ready. And that's all part of it. He'll have us get things in advance. So I have some additional clothing items that match my goal. Because he said, you're going to get there. So here's the big one right here. Y'all got to keep that faith. God says it's suddenly season. So keep that faith. Don't lose your faith. Because the enemy would love for you to give up and give in. Well, hey, a little better is better than nothing, right? There you go. Change that thinking. Okay, so well, if you have ice cubes and baggies or plastic bags, that'll work too. Get you a towel, right? Put some of those ice cubes inside one of the a baggie. Okay, and then get your little towel, right? Just a little towel. Put that baggie of ice on in there, right? Right? So you make yourself a little pouch type thing. That baggie of ice right in the middle there, right? Or you can make two. So there's a way around that if you don't have ice packs. If you don't have actual ice pack, you can use ice cubes in a baggie or a plastic bag. Wrap a little towel around it. There you go. See, there's always a way around that resistance. Yes, you're welcome. There you go. Oh, you're talking about saran wrap. You could do that too. Sure. If you've got a nice piece of the cling wrap, you put the ice in there and then wrap them up and then put them in the towel. That'll work, but you don't want to put the ice directly on. Okay, you don't want to get freezer bit. Because it happened to me. I'm telling you. Sure, it did. Okay? Yeah. You don't want to do that. That's why you want to have a towel. And if it's preferably a thin, like a terry cloth, if something like that. Okay? Because if it's too thick, it might take a while for it to, and you wanna get some relief. So there you go. In the meantime, while you are waiting on getting some ice packs. Or you can continue to do it that way because you may not need them. You know what I'm saying? You may not need the ice packs. But if you're detoxing and you want the ice packs for other things as well, then by all means, it's worth the investment. They're not that expensive. Because I know I got the beaded ones that I got. They were not quite $7 each. So that's not really that expensive here anyway. So now the bigger ones that I got, they're about 15, but they stay cold a lot longer. And those bigger ones are for the bigger areas that need a bit more self-care. So there you go. All right, there's your tip on that. Right. You're right. No, you don't want to get frostbite. Oh, yeah. No. That's right. It's just another one of those things that happens. We learn our lesson. But, yeah, and suddenly season. So, there are several of your tips as far as for the detoxing and then being ready. That's really the big part. If you're feeling God's sense of urgency, that's part of Him telling you it's suddenly season, which means that you're getting closer to your goal. Remember, God said, put your goal up on the thing, right? Put it on a post-it note, write it somewhere. Okay? So, like, I have my goal, believe it or not, on my list over here of the different workouts that we're working on. And so at the top, I put my goal. It's a measurement goal. And then on top of it, I have the little sticky note where I have it dated. I put the date on when the last time I measured. And so we're seeing our progress getting closer and closer and closer. So, for example, for the first measurement, we're only like a couple of phases away, but one side, but as far as the other side of that, there's a few things that go into the factor for that. Okay. But we are very close. And then for the second measure, we are, again, very close. And then the third one, same thing, very close. About two more on that. And so we're like, all right. So where we started, though, that's right, where we started, we are about 5 to 5.5 inches smaller than where we first started. So we have to keep that in mind too, just because we have a little season where not a whole lot of progress being made. I know why. In my circumstance, this may not be for you all. You may continue, you will continue to see unless you've got bruising that happens to be preventing any further progress, so to speak. This is why God says, I need you to up the ante and get these bruises out of the way. So many of them have gone, and so now we're working on the other one. Yep. And so it's just a matter of time, because bruises heal. Especially if we are using the ointment and then also chamomile extract. Yep. And then just making sure that we get out there and stay walking, keep that circulation going. And so what do? We take our tumbler, right? Yep, take our tumbler and we put some of our superfood in there. So that while we're walking, that's right, sipping on that nutrition. There you go. And then, sipping on that nutrition. And then now, also, don't forget, you go out there for an additional walk, don't forget that you can do the 1 teaspoon of turmeric and 1 teaspoon of ginger and put it in that bottle of cold water. Ooh, that is, oh my goodness. It is very refreshing, and your body, it will take it. Okay. And then also, for those who may have missed this tip, as far as the detoxing or what have you, you may want to check out some collagen peptides, if you will. That's what they call them. Collagen for the bones and your joints, and then hair, skin, nails, all of that. So you might want to take a look into that if you think that's something you might need. You'll know. I mean, your joints and your body will tell you. So you can look into that. Because, right, God says we got to replenish. See, it's all about replenishing what the enemy depleted in circumstances. And then, of course, for y'all, all the things that get depleted by radio frequency, that's the top one right there. Okay? A lot of things get depleted with higher exposure to radio frequency. That's your calcium, your vitamin D, your magnesium. Come on now. Remember, like I talked about on the Patreon channel, where I said the world will blame RF symptoms on food because the enemy doesn't want people to get the nutrition that they need. Because I learned, I've been lied to, right? We've all been lied to about a lot of things. And so experiencing heartburn after eating a particular food, no. That's RF poisoning because it heats the body on the inside. What causes that discomfort is if we eat too much. Because I'm going to tell you, since here and unlearning that garbage, not only that, what we tell ourselves. What a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so for years, the enemy tricked me into thinking that I can't eat this because it causes that. I can't eat this because it causes that. Grapefruit, tomatoes, pineapple. Although I would dabble in pineapple anyway, now and again, because it didn't have that effect. Tricked me into thinking that certain foods would cause an adverse reaction. Once I learned that all of that is related to radio frequency, oh man, I got my blood type diet app open and I'm like, all right, what fruits can I have? So now we got grapefruit. Yeah, make our own grapefruit juice. Pineapple chunks, strawberry. Yeah, that. When I got here and started making those protein shakes, that's the first time I had a strawberry in many, many years. No adverse reaction because we're aware of the fact that food does not cause that stuff. It's radio frequency poisoning that causes it. And the fact that it would act that way after eating particular food trick the mind into believing that you can't eat that, so you're not going to get the nutrients that your body needs. Like in tomatoes, you got lycopene, very high in potassium. There's a lot of potassium in fruits and vegetables, you all. And potassium helps to get rid of excess salt. Increase potassium, decrease sodium. Okay? Potassium. It's just one of many. And then your vitamin D. Natural sunlight, obviously, is the best way, but we know how they do with the RF manipulating the weather. Oh, yeah. We know how they do. Yeah. Make it nice and gloomy and no sunshine for a few days. Blast out some RF. Drop the temperature. And all of a sudden, people got the... And so they go to the store and they buy a bunch of stuff to take that doesn't treat nothing. It only prolongs the symptoms that are going to go away on their own within 24 hours to less than a week. I'm here to tell y'all, because as we're going through this detoxing process, I've been witnessing them do it. Okay, they use movie props. All right, but they can only do it to an extent, of course, but just enough to keep the metal molecule in cooler air, right? So you're breathing them in, and then of course, depending on what you're eating, so get all the salts and the metal, the salts and metal salts, but that's what they are. Get as much of that in there, increasing that mucus, it all plays a role so that, the enemy can continue to cook from the inside out. That's where all that internal body heat comes from, the salt. So we decrease our salt intake as part of the process. We start to notice these things. And then get more nutrition because we realize that, hold up a second, the world has been lying to us our entire lives. And so we realize, you know what? Okay. You know, the myth that chocolate causes acne, no it don't. And all acne is toxins trying to get out. So we learn to just let it. If I get a little something, I know what it is. I'm like, all right, well, let the body get it out. I ain't going to try to fight it. We ain't using that regimen no more because it got to get out. Because once it gets out, then it's gone. Because we're detoxing. I know some people are not ready to hear these truths. And a lot of people aren't going to believe these truths because it goes against their long-held belief system about the world and about health. They ain't going to want to hear that. It's going to make them, those who are demonically possessed especially are not going to want to hear it. The demon spirit. The demon spirits are going to keep them from finding out that truth. That's why we call them sleepers. Let them keep sleeping. But I was like, seriously, once I learned that the body has a particular reaction. And so as you're going through the detox, don't be alarmed. Listen, because your body going to get rid of, so your body is going to circulate that excess salt to a place where it can get out. And so while that's happening, if you start to notice that your fingers get a little bit pruny every once in a while, don't panic. That's part of the process. Yes, strawberry. Cream. If you're talking about cream like milk cream, it's on my avoid list. Yeah, unfortunately. I can have it, sure. My body's not going to like it. I might like it, but the body won't. It just is what it is. Because it will interfere with, it's not that, no. It has nothing to do with the lactose. We now know that. So It's just that on this blood type diet, it has metabolic inhibitors, meaning there's things inside that particular dairy product that will interfere with my body's natural and normal digestion. That's really what that means. Right, and sunlight. Actually, sunlight. Believe it or not, the sun. I can see where you would come up with it being radio frequency, but it's actually is a healthy way of getting vitamin D from the sun. The enemy knows that from sunlight. You get a nice dose of vitamin D from being in the sun. Nothing wrong with being in the sun. God made the sun. And we're not close enough to it for any RF effects. It's a lot farther away than the liars out here on the world stage would like you to think it is. And so, okay, organic silica liquid. Thank you. I did not know that. I'm going to write that down. I am going to write that down. Because I know I'm going to be making another vitamin shop trip. Oh, this movement, this combat against radio frequency for healthier living. Oh, yeah. Vitamin Shop GNC going to be, yeah. Hello. I'm the leader. Okay, so organic silicone liquid. I am looking into that. There you go. All right. See, iron sharpens iron up in here. Iron sharpening iron at Consulting for Heightened Awareness. Yep, temperature swings of 10 degrees and of course. So now you see what I'm talking about when they do that. Yes, everybody. And nails too. I got that. I got that. So for healthier living, we just want to know that it, suddenly season. So God's going to have us get things. And so we listen and be ready because it's coming. Inevitable. That's right. So that concludes today's Truth Seeker podcast, everybody. I want to say thank you again for your continued patience as we go through this detoxing ourselves and get things in order. That's the other thing. When God says up the ante, that means it's suddenly season, and we just got to get some things ready. We got to get them in order. Remember, God is a God of order. Okay? But it's His order, not ours. So remember, you're going to learn real quick in God's reality. If you're trying to you make a list, like I do, but I don't number it. I don't even put letters next to it anymore because if I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, God might come in here and go, yeah, well, but you're going to do number 5 first. That's God. So I just put a little bullet point. I write down here's what we want to get done. And then I'm like, all right, God, where do you want me to start? Okay, everybody. And sometimes it's getting up here live where we get started. It just depends. All right, everybody. So keep getting ready. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't hesitate to reach out with any questions you may have. All right, especially about trauma healing, spiritual growth. And then if you're on the detox journey with us about that, about the courses at CHA Academy, I highly encourage y'all to check those out. Remember, You can make the one-time payment or 5 monthly installment for those courses, but you got to click on the arrow to check that option, whichever one works for you. Okay, everyone? So, yep, I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's True Secret Podcast, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center. Wow, combating radio frequency for healthier living. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In His name, amen.